And I'm back, and what I'm doing here this afternoon is I'm going to put in one of these over-range exhaust vents that go to the outside. This is going to actually exhaust from the, what I'm going to put in here is I'm going to put a microwave in this spot here, and it's got an exhaust fan underneath over the range, and it'll exhaust out through here. Now you can see I've already started. What I did was I laid out a line on here. This is where I'm going to cut here. So it's 3.5 wide and 10.25 long. And what I did was I drilled a single hole through to the outside here. And you can see I've just started doing some radial cuts from that hole. And what I did was, I'll show you on the outside when I get started there, I drew some parallel lines, and I've got the dimensions laid out on the outside of the siding. And I'll show you how to button this up and put the hood in here in a second. So basically these, you've seen these before. These go from the outside. That comes in, and you can cut it the thickness of your wall. It's meant for quite a thick wall. I might have to cut it off here, you know, depending on how thick the wall is. And then outside, it's got a shield to keep the rain out of it, and it's got a little door inside so that it doesn't, you don't just get an inrush of air every time the wind blows. It comes in, it stops the door. But if you have exhaust, it's going to blow out through and open the little door and exhaust down the side of the building. Yeah, I just wanted to show you the brand of that vent hood. It's made by Imperial, and I got it on Amazon.com. Okay, so you can see I'm on the outside here. That's the hole I drilled through. That's at the edge of my line. I've got a vertical line drawn here, and I've got another line. You can see the pencil line here drawn at 10.25 inches over from that. And here's the height from this line. That's drawn with a level, and this one here, 3.5 high. So I'm going to cut all that out. I'm just making some radial cuts with that so I can chop these off. I'm trying to do it with just by drilling one circular hole and the rest with the reciprocating saw. Okay, so here's the rough hole cut. Okay, now we might have to trim a little bit, and we'll look at that in a second. So what I've done is I've taken a measurement from the outside of the siding to the inside of the drywall in a couple of places, because the siding is a little bit tapered. So we're looking at 8 inches, basically. I think 8 inches is going to do fine. So what we've got to do is we've got to trim this nozzle piece back to 8 inches. Otherwise that, you know, we're going to have what looks like almost 2 inches, 1.75 inches sticking inside the wall. We don't need that. Really good way to cut yourself on this stuff, especially when you cut into it. You know, wear your gloves, be careful. All right, see how close we are. Man, that is pretty close. It's got to go in a little bit farther. Oh, that's going to be really good. Okay, so that's the rough fit. See how I got it so it sits under, just luckily, the way this worked out, it fits underneath that course of hardy siding. See there? That's really good, and I'll be putting some caulking on here afterwards. I'll show you what I've got, some really good stuff. But before we do that, we've got to take this out, and we've got to vapor barrier that whole enclosure. Okay, so I got a little piece of vapor barrier here, 6mm poly. Okay, so you can see I just made a plastic tube, okay? It sticks out on the outside, it sticks on the inside. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover all that in tuck tape, okay? Basically, we're gonna have a tube that's got 6mm poly, you know, underneath pretty much a continuous layer of this tuck tape, and you'll see here in a second. Okay, so I've lined the hole with 6mm poly, and I've covered it completely, top, bottom, and 2 sides in tuck tape. And I've got the trunking in the hole. This is still a dry fit. And what I'm going to show you here, this is the mount for the microwave. So that's going to cover any of that tape on the surface there, okay? We're not quite finished with that. We've got one more step to do before we seal the inside, but I just wanted to show you the mount in place, okay? Okay, so the caulking I've got for this outside flange is this LePage 2-in-1 seal and bond, really good stuff. You can use whatever you want, but that's one I prefer. Okay, put a hole in there. That in there. Did you know that that's what that was for? For poking the tube. Okay, so I got a continuous tube of poly, 6mm poly coming out of this hole. I got it covered in duct tape. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm taking caulking, I'm going under the tape at the edge here, all along. All right. Under the tape all along here. And on top of the tape, like that. I'm going to go all the way around the perimeter of that hole. And then I'm going to sit my vent in there. Okay, like so. All right, like that. Okay, so to prevent the sharp edge that I cut on this from cutting the tape that's in there, I put a little tape on this edge, and see, it's not so sharp anymore. Okay, so got that ready. We've dry fit it several times. We're just going to be careful to put that in. And we're just going to wiggle it back and forth as it goes. Like that. Back and forth, back and forth. It's going to go right in against that. Okay, see how that went in right into under that. But just luckily how that worked out. Under that edge of hardy. Okay, push that in a bit. There. Look at that. Now once we wipe that caulking off, that's going to be a really tight bond there on the edge. Okay, so that's mounted. Get the caulking around behind the flange, got the screws in it. And what I'm going to do here tomorrow is, when this is dry, I'm going to take some of this paint and I'm just going to paint up to the edge all the way around, make a nice neat job of it. Okay, so here it is inside. I've taped between the wall and the edge of the trunking. There's one other thing you could do. You could take a bit of spray foam, a spray foam insulation, and you could go up under the courses of siding immediately above it. You could stick the straw in up and just give it a little squirt of spray foam insulation so that you cover across the top here behind the siding and between the wall. And that would ensure that if ever any water did come down the wall behind the siding, it would hit the spray foam and run off the sides and not just follow this tape into the wall. That's the only consideration. That's highly unlikely, but it is an extra step that could happen. That's how that's done. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.